Hey guys, this is Trainer Dino and as promised, because we crossed the like goal, I'm here with the part 3 of What If Paul Challenged the Battle Frontier. To be honest, I didn't expect the like goal to be surpassed so easily, but I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the content that I bring for you, and it motivates me to add some more effort into making these presentations. Uh, Not that I'm not doing my best anyways, but you get the point. So without further ado, let's begin our story. In the last part, we saw Paul finally going back to his roots of being a Pokemon trainer as he challenged the Pewter City Gym and his Torchic evolved into a powerful Combusken. In this part, we will finally see Paul in his first ever frontier battle. Let's begin. This is What If Paul Challenged the Battle Frontier, Part 3. Paul arrived at the outskirts of Pewter City to find Scott and Nolan. Battle Factory was the very first frontier that he intended to challenge, as this would be a good test for him in an all-round format. Nolan welcomes Paul to the Battle Factory and Scott tells him that Ash also challenged Nolan first. Paul asks him what are the rules of the battle. Nolan tells Paul that normally he would fight with random Pokemon, but Scott tells him that Paul is indeed a very high-level trainer who battled Brandon on one occasion. Paul tells him that he appreciates it, but asks if there will be any rules or it will be a standard Pokemon battle. Brandon Nolan tells him that since this is Battle Factory, there will be a essence of randomness in the battle, so he will match every Pokemon that Paul sends out. The winner of the first Paul may select the typing of the first battle, and subsequently the winner of the match will select the typing of the next battle. This will continue until all the Pokemon of any trainer are eliminated. There will be 3 battles, each battle consisting of 1 point. In case of any draw, there will be a tiebreaker round in which both trainers will send out a random Pokemon of any type. Paul agrees to this and asks Nolan for one day to get his Pokemon from Professor Oak's ranch. Nolan allows this. The next day, Paul once again arrives at the Battle Factory as they get ready for battle. Paul has made some changes in his Pokemon team as he knew that Gastly would not be compatible in this format, since it is still in its first stage and needs some more battling experience. The battle begins as Paul sends out his Drapion in order to gain an early lead. Noland of course matches this and sends out Scolipede. This is an intense battle as soon as the Pokemon are sent out they lock eyes and a rivalry sparks. Scolipede's speed boost is too much for Drapion to handle as it's repeatedly attacked by Pin Missiles and Poison Jab. Paul tries to counter with a Pin Missile of its own, but the best he can come up with is cancelling the attack. It almost seems like the best Drapion can do right now is stop Scolipede's attack, as it's because of the speed boost it's able to evade almost any and every attack of Drapion. Paul knows that Paul knows that he will never be able to catch Scolipede, so he decides to use Drapion's intercept strategy that worked wonders in the Sinnoh. He tells Drapion to wait for Scolipede to come to him, and soon enough Noland falls for this bait as he orders a Megahorn. As Scolipede charges at Drapion, Drapion ducks and grabs Scolipede in its tail. As the Unova Pokemon struggles to break free, Paul orders a barrage of Pin Missiles followed by a powerful Cross Poison that puts down Scolipede. Although its speed was great, Drapion's sheer power and all the attacks at the point-blank range proved to be too much for Scolipede. This gives Paul an early lead. In the next battle, he decides to go with his Weavile, as in the previous battle speed was a big problem for him. Noland this time chooses the bulkier and slower Pokemon as he matches Weavel's dark type and sends out Groudon. This is basically a repeat of the first battle, only the tables are turned this time. Weavile is too much for Groudon to handle as it repeatedly attacks Groudon with Brick Breaks and Ice Shards. However, this time, Paul is the one who gets overzealous as he decides to command Weavile to use a Brick Break to end Groudon once and for all. Noland was waiting for this as he orders an Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet of course strikes first, leaving Weavile immobilized for a while. This allows Groudon to grab Weavile using its pincers and connect with a powerful Crab Hammer which knocks Weavile out. This brings the battle into a one-on-one. After a while, Noland decides that he would go for all or nothing, as he sends out his last Pokemon, that's Monferno. Paul smiles as this brings a weird sense of nostalgia to him. He thinks this is just poetic at this point, as he sends out Combusken, matching not only the fire but also the fighting type. The both starter Pokemon battle it out at an insane pace, as speed is not an issue for either of them. Mach Punch and Double Kicks are exchanged between them too, as Flame Wheel and Fire Spin collide. It seems that Monferno has the speed advantage, but Combusken is always landing the more precise shots. At one point, as Monferno charges with a Mach Punch, Combusken is able to counter it with a double kick and send Monferno flying. In return, Monferno connects with a powerful Flame Wheel, bursting through Combusken's Fire Spin. This is a close battle, as both Pokemon get tired fighting at such an insane pace. After a while, they both fall down, too exhausted to move. However, Monferno starts to rise up as a fiery aura surrounds him. Paul is horror-struck by this. He knows exactly what this is, as this sends him the flashback of the Sinnoh League. Monferno has activated his Blaze ability. Although it is not dampened like Ash's Monferno was, the power boost is still the same. Paul thinks to himself that he needs to end this now, but suddenly Combusken also starts glowing, as it activates its own Blaze ability. A fiery aura erupts as it almost eclipses Monferno's. The both Pokemon start to battle in an even more violent pace, not even listening to the trainer's command as they battle it out themselves. However, eventually Combusken is able to connect with a powerful double kick which sends Monferno flying. It looks at Paul and nods as it charges up its new move, Blaze Kick. Monferno counters with Flame Wheel as both the attacks collide, creating a huge explosion which bursts up the ceiling of the battle factory. When the dust settles, we see that Monferno is lying down while Combusken is still standing, although barely. The referee declares that Monferno is unable to battle and Combusken is the winner, thus giving Paul his first ever victory in an official Battle Frontier challenge. This gives him the knowledge symbol and brings him one step closer to winning something that his brother Reggie couldn't. Thanks guys, that will bring an end to this part. It was relatively shorter than I thought it would be. I have already prepared the next part. There will be no Lycos this time. Let's just hope that you guys enjoy the story. And I have something more special planned for you guys. Actually, two things. One is a 10K special, 10 subscriber special, and another one is something I decided by a unofficial vote. Let's just say like that. So stay tuned not only for the next part but also for my community posts because I'll be posting something very soon. Thank you so much. God bless.